Hello, everybody, and welcome right on back to NCAA 2004 here in the Alabama Crimson Tide Dynasty yet again. We are here facing off the Georgia Bulldogs for the third time in 2 seasons. That's right, the third time. We did play them in the SEC title game, and we are once again facing them in the regular season. They are ranked 14th in the country. They lost a couple weeks ago and are coming off of a win. We, of course, have lost the last 2 games to ranked opponents, Southern Miss and Arkansas. So our conference record is sitting at 1-1, so it's obviously important that we win not just this game, but really any game moving forward if we want to keep our momentum moving forward that we kind of built to the first few weeks of the season with some close wins. So I guess we've been fully outed as frauds by this point since we've had 2 tests as we climbed up to 14 in the rankings. We've had 2 tests to prove that we are not frauds, but we, in fact, were very, very fraudulent. So a huge win against Georgia in the regular season would really kind of boost morale and change the trajectory of our season, but we have yet to beat Georgia, period, which is ironic considering Georgia's record currently in the modern day against Alabama. I think they're 54 and like 3 in the last 3 or 4 years, and all 3 of those losses are to Alabama, which is hilarious. But Sick Nayban might build up a similar rap sheet here, except we're definitely not going to go 54-3 over a 4-year stretch here. We've already lost way more games than that. So I'm just hoping for a big win against the Georgia Bulldogs. Hopefully, again, kind of throw our hats back into this SEC race, even though I think Georgia's on the other side of the SEC. So it's not a huge win for the West Division so much. I think that Arkansas game would have been a lot more crucial, but either way, this is an important game for us to win. So Georgia already on offense here in our territory on a 3rd and very, very long. They're going to need to pick up quite a bit to keep this drive alive. It's a deep ball, and it is sailing into the grass and bouncing out of bounds, so Georgia cannot convert here. They're going to have to bring up the field goal unit on a 4th and 12, and it's going to be a very, very long kick, and that one's going to land just short of the goalpost. I actually think it might have made it all the way to the crossbar, but just did not have the power. I think it just bounced. It bounced underneath the crossbar rather than landing short of it, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like, see, maybe about a yard or so short if you had a little bit more power. You got it all the way there, just not the right arch, I guess. I don't know. But on 3rd and 4 now for the Crimson Tide offense here. Pressure is getting in number 12's face, but he does dump it off, and he gets it out all the way to, I think it was 31. I can't tell, because we have an 81 who's an actual person who we did recruit, but that's 31 who's from last year's team, and we don't call his name often, but there he is, catching a pass. So getting the offense moving here on a 3rd down, but we are facing yet again another 3rd down late in the first quarter. Number 12 with plenty of time to throw, and he dumps this one off to the corner to number 1, another returning receiver from last season, and he hauls this one in. A potentially looking dangerous throw, as there was a defender well in the vicinity to make a play on the ball, but he wasn't really paying attention, so we will take the 1st down as the first quarter comes to a close with the Crimson Tide offense looking to strike next. So on 3rd and 7 here to the corner of the end zone to number 1. That was a miscue as number 1 was kind of heading out of bounds, and number 12 threw that ball well behind him into the tunnel. So we're going to have to bring out the kicking unit, Ferguson, the freshman kicker here, to try and knock this one through, and he manages to do just that. So the kick is good, and we're going to take a 3-0 lead over the Georgia Bulldogs, but as we know against this Bulldog team here, no lead is sacred. So on a 3rd and 3 here late in the first half, number 14 rolls out, unloads a deep ball, finds an open man here, shakes off a tackle, and gets brought down inside the 20, and now the Bulldogs offense is looking to cook something up here in their first red zone drive of the game, with just about a minute and a half left to go in the first half. So from the Crimson Tide 16, number 14 is going to drop back, throw this one over to the corner of the end zone, and he, again, threads that one through a couple defenders here. We've seen some quarterbacks do that on our defense a couple times. It happened last game with Arkansas. They had a really nice pass like that, and that one just kind of split in between the 2 defenders here, the 2 young defenders. I think one of those guys at least was a freshman, so, it is what it is. So with 15 seconds left to go, we have a 3rd and short, trying to get some points here before the first half is over. Pressure on number 12's face, but he wants the home run ball, and he gets it, as I think that's Spears who he finds. Yep, there he is, number 83 Spears, hauls that one in here inside the 5, and we're going to try and run the hurry up here, try and get to the line of scrimmage before time expires, but Sick Nayban's going to burn that timeout anyway. I think maybe he was thinking if we could get up to the line, we could maybe try a play for the end zone, but instead we're just going to send Ferguson back out there and take some points here, try and cut the lead to just 1 point, and we managed to do that as Ferguson nails the second chip shot of the game. So 7-6 is going to be your score heading into the locker room at the end of the first half. So we're in a good position here. We got Georgia right where we want them, so we're going to have to play a little bit stronger here, maybe get into the end zone on one of these drives here. We could be leading the game pretty big. And coming out of the locker room here in the second half, it's Matthews, who was a part of that play that allowed the first touchdown for Georgia, making a huge play on the ball here in the second half, getting the interception. But on 3rd and 15, after some negative plays, we need to pick up quite a bit. And number 12 finds, I think, I can't tell who that was. I think it might have been Spears. I don't know. It was 81, the other receiver that we had recruited. His name's not Campbell. It's something like a CH, something like that. So we're going to bring out Ferguson for an even longer kick now. He's been good from the chip shots. Can he be good from this distance? And no, he's not. He had plenty of leg for it, but just missed that one about wide left. Just barely missed it wide left. So Ferguson has been pretty solid for us in this game. Makes his first miss of this game. He's missed quite a few already in the season that we've seen. And leaving points on the board here is not something that this team can kind of afford to do, especially with the last couple weeks. Definitely not. So pressure in Georgia's quarterback's face. But he does get rid of this one. I think it's the running back, number 9, who hauls that one in. And it's a humongous pickup for the Bulldogs offense as they kind of flip the field here, and they are now knocking on the red zone. So on 2nd and 9, 14 dropping back. Pressure again. We kind of sent the house, and number 14 finds an open receiver to pick up the first down, and now Georgia is looking to score yet again. So coming up empty on these drives, man, we really can't just keep taking field goals as Georgia is looking to score another touchdown. They're going to hand it off to number 9, and untouched into the end zone he goes, and now Georgia is going to further extend their lead, pending the extra point here, 14-6. So the game is still manageable here as the third quarter comes to a close, but we are going to have to capitalize on an offensive drive at some point in this game if we want a chance to win, obviously. So on 4th and 14 on a punt here, we're obviously showing a punt, so some shenanigans are afoot, and Georgia is going to field this one at their own 40. And on the spin cycle, he was going to get put in the spin cycle, and on the tackle, recovering his own kind of fumble here, the Crimson Tide defense manages to come up with a huge fumble recovery in Georgia territory. So we're looking to add some points now after we get a huge bailout on a special teams blunder by the Georgia Bulldogs. I think that was a running back who had the touchdown. I think he was the punt returner, and he fumbled that one. So that's a huge blunder by their special teams. So we are looking to threaten now. We're just outside the 20-yard line. Number 12 rolls out to his right and finds a wide open man, and into the end zone he goes. And I think it's number 81 from earlier as well. So I'm going to need to learn his game because I know we have Spears on one side and Kelly on the other. And this guy right here is pretty much like the third option. So I can't remember from the depth chart screen what the name was. So, but we're calling everyone else's number out because they're not named yet. So he's just going to be 81 for the time being. So we're obviously going to go for 2 points because we need to tie the ball game up here. This is kind of crucial here. The game could end if we don't convert this right here. Number 12 under a little bit of pressure here, tries to flip that one to the back of the end zone, but Georgia had plenty of men in the vicinity. Looks like Georgia was playing zone on that, man, which you'd think it'd be pretty easy to exploit from the 2-yard line, but we could not find an open receiver. So 14-12 is your score, and Georgia just needs a couple first downs to put this game away, and number 9 gets one right there. And so you see us calling timeouts now out of desperation, and we're just trying to get the football back here. And on another 3rd and 2, just 1:06 left to go. It's another handoff, and there's the first down. And he's going to get a whole lot more. Somehow that doesn't count as a touchdown. I think the ball might have broke the plane before his knee went down, but either way, they're not going to call it. But that's going to pretty much be the game-sealing first down, and Georgia would just come out and take knees and not try and get into the end zone, and they're going to take the win. So Georgia takes their 3rd win over Sick Nayban's Crimson Tide, and that just seems to be the kryptonite, man. We cannot beat the Georgia Bulldogs. A bunch of low-scoring, just back-and-forth games like this, and we just keep coming up empty, man. So even games with no stakes like this one, and then games with stakes like the SEC Championship game, just cannot seem to crack the code of the Georgia Bulldogs, man. And I know if you're a Georgia fan, you're enjoying me saying that. But for my sake, as the coach of this team, I would certainly like it if we could figure something out. So Georgia definitely outplayed us here in this game. Obviously, the big outliers, we could not run the football. And I realize in games where we really struggle to run the football, even somewhat, that kind of correlates to us losing these games. So if we could run the football a little bit more consistently from week to week, we have a decent backfield, so I don't know why we struggle as much as we do to run the football consistently. But in this game, it certainly was an issue. Georgia's run defense was just absolutely lights out. Our quarterback didn't even really play that terrible of a game. And Carroll is his name. Carroll is number 81. That's the name I couldn't remember. It's Carroll. Yeah, so Collins had himself a nice game as well here, kind of blew some coverage, but it is what it is. Heading back to the Hub World now, we've simmed the next few weeks here because none of these games were really all that important. We beat Troy State just barely, which is kind of a bad look here, but we did beat Ole Miss, who was ranked at the time of us playing that game. I think they were like 23rd, but we did manage to beat them. We also beat Tennessee, who's having a rough year, and now coming out of our bye week, we have to play a 6-2 Mississippi State Bulldog team. So we climb back into the rankings after a few really solid weeks, and somehow Mississippi State is not ranked. They're 26, so they're just outside the rankings, but you'd think they would probably be higher than we are with our extra loss here, but they're not. So this is kind of a big game here since Mississippi State's having a decent season. This is a huge conference game for us, so hope to see everyone back at home at Bryant-Denny when we take on Mississippi State.